Hey there, everybody. I'm Mike Delisio.
And I'm Chris Yee.
And today we are presenting to you Kingdom of Dice, a push your luck dice game from Reiner Knizia and publisher Mondu Games. This is on the simpler end of the push your luck scale, and it has a theme of royalty, Chris.
Does it have a theme of royalty with dice-shaped heads? That's theme right there, Mike.
Well, let me just show you how this game oozes theme at the table, then we'll come back here and we'll let you know what we think. Kingdom of Dice is played over 3 rounds, which you'll be tracking by these cards. In the first round, you'll be playing with the Chancellor. Second round, you'll be playing with the Queen. And in the third and final round, you'll be playing with the King. What you do to set up a round is you'll place whatever the appropriate card is. As I said in the first round, it's the Chancellor. And then you just take 6 cards randomly from this deck of cards. And you're going to place them in descending order. Okay, and so looks like we've got 10, 8, 7, 6, 4, and 4, all going beneath the Chancellor here, all right? And then, on a player's turn, what they're going to do is they're going to roll these 6 dice. These are standard D6s, with the exception of, instead of a 6, there's a crown. And what you're trying to do is roll a valid result. And so what will happen is you roll all 6 of the dice. Now, there are some rules that you need to think about when you're trying to get a valid roll. To have a valid roll, you have to have at least 1 crown symbol in your pool. You can have as many 1s as you want in a pool, and it can still be valid. However, if you choose 2s, 3s, or 4s, it's only valid if you have 2 2s, if you're going for 2s, 3 3s if you're going for 3s, 4 4s if you're going for 4s, and you can never have more than 1 5 in your roll. You also are able to keep at least 1 die. You have to keep at least 1 die, and you can re-roll any of the other dice you like, and you can also stop at any time. So looking at things here, I can go really risky and try to go for 4s. Let me just do that to show you, that was a 4, to show you what happens, and then I would re-roll these. Whoa, look at that. I still got a shot. And now here, I've actually busted because there's no way to have a valid roll here. Because if I kept that 2, that means that I would not be able to get either another 4 and another 2, which would be necessary. So let's say that was a purple player. They just busted. Then you go on to the next player. Let's say it's the yellow player. They see here they've got 1 5 and a couple of 3s. Maybe they're going to keep those. I'm being pretty risky here. They keep that 1. Can't keep the 5. So at this point, we've got an invalid roll because you need a crown and you would not be able to get another 3. So yellow busted. Let's try to be a little bit more conservative here. Green. They roll. Okay, well, they'll keep maybe 1 5. Here's a crown, and if they wanted to, they can stop right here. And if they did, here's what would happen. You would take the number of pips and multiply them by the number of crowns. So in this case, if green were to stop here, they would get 5 points and they'd put one of their crowns on 5. Let's say they do that. They're seeing people bust before them and they want to be careful. Now red player goes, or pink, they go, maybe they'll keep this 3. They're going to go again. They'll keep one of those crowns. They could have kept 2 of the crowns. They're still in the mix here. And look at what they got here. Look at that. What a beautiful roll for pink. Now, this is a valid roll because you have 3 3s, 1 1, and 2 crowns. So you would add these up. 3, 6, 9, and 10 times 2 is 20. Look at that. Boom. You're going to continue to do this until either you have 7 total crowns on the board, or if one player is able to get all 5 of their crowns out there, which is very rare, that would also end the round. So let's say it ended up something like this, this, and this. If you ever roll a result that already has a number or a crown on it, so let's say that pink rolled a 6, they would not be able to go to 6. They'd have to go to the next lowest unoccupied number of 4. Things along those lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so there we've got our 7 crowns on the board. And then you would distribute these cards in descending order down this path. So pink player would get the Chancellor. Purple player would get the 10. Green player would get the 8. And you're going to continue to do this. You're going to collect all the cards, and then you will reset with the next round with the Queen, doing it another time, and then finally with the King, doing it a third time. At the end of the game, you're going to add up all of the cards that you've collected, and whoever has the most points is going to be the winner of Kingdom of Dice. Let's head back, and I'll let you know what we think. All right, so there you go, Kingdom of Dice, a push your luck game. And as I kind of alluded to in the intro to this, a pretty simple push your luck dice game. You're kind of doing some things you may have seen before in some other push your luck dice games where you're rolling some 6-sided dice and you are choosing whether you want to re-roll and you're trying to get a valid result. Again, nothing we haven't seen before, Chris, but do you think this game stands out from other push your luck games in any ways?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and it feels very familiar, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, using kind of familiar little tropes. But I was sitting there trying to pinpoint, like, what is it about this that feels clever to me? Because it does. It definitely feels like, wow, this is almost frustratingly clever. I've tried to come up with little like push your luck dice systems. Ooh, what do you need to do this and that? And then I play this. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is really, you want more of a higher number or you want a high number? We got to get more of it. You're like, oof, I don't know if I can reach 4 4s. Like that moment of tension is great. It's a nice little, it's a nice thing that kind of pushes you into feeling like you want to push your luck. And I think that's what a game like this needs, right? When you roll 3 4s in your opening roll, you're like, well, don't mind if I do, right? But you might not get that 4th one, and that's like a good kind of that good. What is the term I'm looking for? That wave that you want to ride of excitement, and then other times you have some rolls that are just very simple. You're like, okay, I'll just go for like the slow and steady thing. But I especially like the fact that you need to roll those crowns, otherwise you get no multiplier. I think that's what kind of helps separate this one from other good and competent little dice games like this.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one of the things that I think Reiner Knizia does well is that he has very simple mechanical systems in play, and a lot of it is about the interaction between the players at the table. And so where I think that shines in this game is the way that the round structure works, which is that whenever 7 crowns are placed on the board, it ends the round. You could have a very rare situation where someone gets all 5 of their crowns on the board, but I've never seen that happen. But generally it's going to be when there are 7 crowns on the board. And so, if it's your first roll of the round, you might just really kind of push it, go for a really high thing, and maybe you bust. And you don't really worry about it because, hey, I've got other times, I've got other turns here in this round. But if people around the table, other than you, are being more conservative and they're taking some of those lower numbers on the board, suddenly you don't feel this carte blanche to keep going as high as you want to, because the round might end before you're ready. You may only get 1 of your crowns on the board. And if you've got other people that have 2, maybe 3 crowns, they're sucking up more of those cards. And I really like that aspect of the game. I think that's another clever twist to a familiar formula that we may have seen before that helps it stand out a bit.
And I think people might be surprised to say, like, interaction in a game like that. You're just rolling dice, taking your own turn, but it's that round structure. I absolutely agree that someone has like 2 pretty high up, of their markers out there, and you're like, ooh, I don't want to let them have that. Maybe it'll force me to play a little differently. That's a form of interaction, like kind of like a slow, turn-based type of interaction. But it's true, right? If you are looking at the display of cards, you're like, woof. This round, I just want to have some pieces out there because that'll put the pressure on other players to play riskier. that is. You're encouraging other people to push their luck, which I think is what a game like this needs. It needs those moments where people are kind of like egging you on a little bit, like, you want to keep those fours. You really do, I'm sure of it. But you also want those moments where you say, oh, what I'm going to aim for this round is going to depend on what the state of those crown markers out there is. I think those simple and kind of familiar elements, there's nothing in here that's revolutionary, but each of the little elements that are in here are just kind of dialed in to just the right settings, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, agreed. Talking about the production a little bit, it's a nice sized box. It's maybe even a little bigger than it needs to be, but it's not outrageous, so nothing terribly negative there. The quality of the game is quite nice. The board, did it need to be that large and nice quality? Not necessarily, but it still is nice. The dice are nice, etched quality. The individual players have their own shaped crowns. All of that is nice, maybe even more than you needed for a game like this, but they still kept it at a reasonable size and price point. So positives with the production. And I'm just going to go into final thoughts, Chris, if that's all right. I'll continue with kind of everything leapfrogging off of that production. As we've mentioned, the mechanisms themselves are not necessarily anything revolutionary or something that maybe you haven't seen before. And so that does play into my score a little bit. However, it's a game I recommend. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 because it takes those familiar elements and adds just enough little twists. Now, if you've got a bunch of push your luck dice games that you enjoy, do I think this is necessary? No, it's not. But if you're looking for a push your luck dice game that's kind of lower on the difficulty scale, that maybe is a little bit more approachable, then I think that you can certainly consider this as an option, because I think what it does very well. So a 7 out of 10 for me.
And for me, it's a 7.5, just a smidge a little bit higher because, I love the shiny, glittery dice, right? That's cool. And like you said, there's just a lot of like thoughtful, fun, little nice things in the production. But at the end of the day, this game is just very, it works. All of those aspects that are in it are familiar, they're well trodden, but they work. And so I agree. I agree with exactly what you said. If you own a lot of push your luck dice games, I don't know that this one is so different that, yeah, this has got to be the 40th one in your collection. But at the same time, if you're looking for a good little game that you can bring to family, to friends who maybe Yahtzee is the game that they're most familiar with in this genre. And I actually think that Yahtzee is quite a good game at the end of the day. But I think that this one is just a little punchier, a little quicker. It has more of those kind of funny moments, but it also doesn't have feel bad moments. If someone whiffs a roll, their turn will come around again pretty quick here. But it is thoughtful at the same time. So I like this one, and I'm recommending it at a 7.5.
All right, well, there you have it. That is Kingdom of Dice. Until next time, I am Mike DeLisio.
And I'm Chris Yee.
And roll royally.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.